That's good. Let's get
Just,
lag.
yeah, the lag. You gotta wait like 10 seconds for that.
That's nice. That's beautiful. That's perfect.
Thank you. I worked really hard on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Go ahead. Isn't this the part where yes, sir. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Woo! Man, that was awesome. You need to put that on your resume.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Jody.
Yes.
Please be seated.
I checked it before I told you. Because you know the
Didn't
Might
tell us.
disconnect.
You killed it.
Just like sign like turn on. Make sure just for the airport song.
Good morning, everyone. I am Lieutenant Brandon Russell, and I have had the pleasure of serving as the class's mentor, and I am your MC for today's ceremony. I would like to take this time to welcome our distinguished visitors, our squadron leadership, the family members, and friends of our graduating class. The commander, 333rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks. Director of Operations, 333rd Training Squadron, Major Venice Hunter. Superintendent, 333rd Training Squadron, Chief Master Sergeant Cody Bailey. A warm welcome to the family members and friends of our graduating class. In addition, we have some special guests for our stormtroopers here today. I would like to recognize retired Air Force Technical Sergeant Richard Flores. And retired Navy Petty Officer First Class Joaquin Arvizu. As you know, we are here to celebrate the hard work and sacrifice of these graduating students and their families. Cyber warfare operators are needed more than ever before. In 2018, the Commander of the United States Cyber Command, General Paul Nakasone, stated of the cyber landscape, a mature and highly capable cyber force is built and in the fight. aggressively defending our network, conducting daily operations against adversaries, and strengthening the combat power and lethality of U.S. forces around the world. We are defining time for our nation and our military. Near-peer competitors are posturing themselves, and threats to the United States' global advantage are growing. Nowhere is this challenge more manifest than in cyberspace. Today, these freshly minted cyber operators are charged with defending our nation against these ongoing threats by employing capabilities to directly meet presidential, Secretary of Defense, and combatant commander objectives around the world. To the new graduates, congratulations on your new challenge. Before recognizing each of our graduates, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker. Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks is the commander for the 333 Training Squadron, where he is responsible for transforming and inspiring over 6,300 Air Force and Joint Service trainees annually. Lieutenant Colonel Sparks, the floor is yours.
So, I have been looking forward to this graduation for several weeks. I'm sure you guys have been looking forward to it even longer. I was talking, where's our mustachioed man? Oh, there he is. There he is. You got like a push broom up there. I didn't recognize him. Like Mario. And so he had mentioned just before the graduation, he was talking about, he's like, I remember it was like after my first test, whatever, he thought, oh gosh, it's gonna be a long 6 months. And then the closer that you get, the skinny part, in the hourglass where the sand runs through, the closer you get to graduation, it seems like the fatter that gets, and the sand is just running out faster and faster. Here you are. So one of the things I like to do is look at history.com. I'm a big history buff. And today, in this day in history, we get to remember something very special. 1927, on this very day, Charles Lindbergh made his flight solo across the Atlantic. It was very interesting when you look at the context in which he did this. No one had ever done it before. And it was interesting. There was a quote. You can read about it in a lot of different places. One resource is the book The Aviators. It's very interesting. They start the chapter off this way. No airplane will ever fly from New York to Paris. Orville Wright. Orville Wright said that. And here, a couple of years later, Charles Lindbergh decides to do it. And here's what's interesting about his flight. Lindbergh was 25 years old. It was not, this had never been done before. He's doing something totally new. And he's doing it against the odds. The Godfather of Flight, Orville Wright himself, thought it wasn't possible. So he goes and he has to get his airplane outfitted. He wasn't flying the F-16. His plane was made of wood and paper mache. He's going to take off from New York and try and make it to Paris. Never been done before. 6 people before had tried and died. So when he's getting his plane made, they said, well, you're going to need a lot more fuel. And so they decided to put in a special fuel tank. But the fuel tank had to be up front. And they thought, well, that's probably safest because you're probably going to crash. And if you do crash, having the fuel tank up front is actually safer. And so he said, okay, let's like the chief. He's like, let's go. And so he said he agrees to the design change of his airplane, the Spirit of St. Louis. But the problem was when they put it in, it was so big that he couldn't see out the window. So they had to build a little like periscope so he could like look out. And he's like, okay. And then they said, what do you want for your flight? He said, well, ideally a parachute. I want a radio and some navigation equipment. They said, no, that's all too heavy. You'll never make it. So without a parachute, without navigation equipment, without a radio, and also no gas gauge, a 25-year-old takes off. And what's interesting is that he had a restless night of sleep the night before. He had already been up for 22 hours before he took off. So he climbs into this airplane made of essentially wood and paper mache. sitting in a little wicker basket. He takes off. No radio, no gas gauge. He gets tired a couple hours in. And they had calculated this. No one had ever done this. So they're like, well, how are you going to get there? And they're looking at the map and they're trying to figure it out. He says, well, to fly the optimal path, maybe we should look at a globe. And so he looks at a globe and he's got like this grocery string and he's like trying to string it out. He's like, well, I'm trying to calculate fuel because again, no one had ever flown across the curvature of the earth like this. He's doing something totally new. He gets tired about 6 hours in. So tired, his eyes start to close. So he physically takes his fingers and he holds his eyelids open. And he decides to come down to 10 feet off the water so that the splashing of the waves would come in through the window that was open. Which, by the way, when he did that, it blew his map away. And the water was running down the back of his neck. And he thought that the cold Atlantic water would keep him awake, which it did. So he flies, and he gets to the point where he's hallucinating. But he eventually sees land. He sees some fishing boats. But he had also no landing lights. Too heavy. And he ended up having to land in Paris at night after having been awake for 55 hours. Now, his aviation training up to that point wasn't much. He did it for funsies. He was just an enthusiast. He was a barnstormer. He did it for fun. And then he decided to come in as a second lieutenant in our United States Army Air Corps. And then while he was there, he saw that they were offering a prize of $25,000. And he decided, let's do this. Let's go. Yeah, like the chief says. So there he climbs into that wicker basket. And I can just imagine, no sleep the night before, wicker basket, no radio, no landing lights, no gas gauge, no navigation equipment. They didn't have YouTube back then and no memes, but if there was a meme for Lindbergh, it would be Leroy Jenkins. Yeah. Now think about what that means for you. There are many things, and the chief and I were talking about this, there are many things that you're going to do and be asked to do that have never been done before. In the book, The Aviators, it's called, the golden age of flight, or the age of flight. It's interesting. I wouldn't say that we've advanced the aircraft to the max that we can, but we're getting darn close, right? It's come a long way from that paper mache airplane that he took off in. But we're kind of at the early ages of our business in so many ways. The chief and I were talking about this. There's going to be so many things that you're asked to do that no one has done before. For instance, it's now going to be, it's new, happened in your lifetime. But from now on, a staple of every election from now until probably any time in the foreseeable future, we're going to have foreign powers who are trying to influence the outcome. And it won't be an airplane that saves us. It will be one of you, someone who's on the front lines. We're not in armed conflict right now against Russia and China, thank God. We're not in armed conflict. We're not dropping bombs against Russia and China. But we're below the level of armed conflict. As the chairman and Joint Chief says, we're not at war, but we're not at peace. We're in unpeace. And in that period of unpeace, below the level of armed conflict, is where you come in. And our instructors have prepped you for that day. And so you step out, much like Lindbergh did. And again, he was about your age. I'm sure it felt pretty wonky taking off when looking through that little periscope. There's going to be things that you do that are going to feel very fresh. You're going to be nervous. But I know that you've been prepared. So let's make it official. Let's get those wings on. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. Works. Now, I would like to provide a quick explanation to the meaning of the Cyberspace operator badge that your graduates will receive today. The lightning bolts that you can see here in front of you signify the cyberspace domain, while the globe signifies the projection of cyber power worldwide. Together, the globe and the lightning bolt wings represent our common communications heritage. The bolted wings centered on the globe are taken from the Air Force SEAL and signify our striking power in air, space, and cyberspace. Finally, the orbits circling the globe signify the space-related elements of the cyberspace mission. Undergraduate Cyber Warfare Training Class 21009, prepare for the presentation of your cyberspace badges and certificates of graduation. As each student is named, is called, will the student and person or persons presenting his or her wings please come forward. We invite the family and friends of our graduates to take pictures with or of their graduate as they receive their certificate and wings. Our first graduate is Michael Barboza. Presenting his certificate is Lieutenant Brandon Russell. Michael Barboza works as a civilian for the 690th ISS at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland Air Force Base in Texas.
Looks good.
Yeah. But you should strut around.
One team, one fight. Not a thing to do. Congratulations.
And you get the award for the coolest last name in the entire class.
Next, we have Major DJ Breslin, who is joining us virtually. Major Breslin is a guardsman and has returned to his home unit to the 147th Combat Comm Squadron, San Diego Air National Guard, California.
It's official.
In the mail, sir. Next, Second Lieutenant Andrew Barola. Presenting his wings is Second Lieutenant Monica Mama. Lieutenant Barola has been assigned to the 17th Comm Squadron at Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. Yeah. It's yours. Not doing this again. Next up, Captain Michael Doty. Presenting his wings is his wife, Rebecca Doty, and his kids, Mikey, Ellie, and Rosie.
Excellent.
Captain Doty is a reservist assigned to the 52nd Network Warfare Squadron at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, and will be staying here as an instructor at the 333rd Training Squadron, Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi, before returning back to his home. So he'll be singing for us a lot.
Yeah. Dropping a frog is considered good luck. You know it's it's crazy when the guy getting up here has to take stuff off. I never gotta take stuff off.
Okay.
It's like a North Korean general.
They just wear what they want.
Yeah. I did.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Jody knows the rules.
Gotta get lined up.
Yeah, free mark, I know.
Hey, this is- wow.
We sent him out front to intimidate you.
Just push hard.
Sorry, I didn't do that.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
You mean inspection.
Rosie, come here. Rosie. Sorry, guys.
No, take your time. Yeah.
Oh. Take a picture.
Ready? Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I'm so glad you're joining our team.
Next graduate is Second Lieutenant Alyssa Einhorn. Presenting her wings is her mentor, me. Lieutenant Einhorn has been assigned to the 39th Information Operations Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland Air Force Base.
Blackwood.
As a side note, she will also be staying here at the 333rd Training Squadron until her departure, and we're happy to have her.
Yes,
Next graduate today is Second Lieutenant Benjamin Fiesel. Presenting his wings is his mentor, me. Lieutenant Fiesel will be staying here with us at the 333rd Training Squadron while he awaits orders for his future assignment. Thanks.
which I'm doing everything I can to slow down.
Hopefully they die.
Just make sure it's blue.
Yeah, I tried to reconnect with it.
I'm about to go through the Bluetooth stuff.
Oh, that's right. Got it.
Next, we have Second Lieutenant Joseph Horn. Presenting his wings is his mentor. Lieutenant Horn is the guardsman assigned to the 217 Engineering Installation Squadron in Springfield, Illinois.
Total fours.
Say he's fragile.
Old man.
That's a lot of medals.
BX Hero. I'll take 2 of those.
They didn't stop us.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a hard walker. Nice.
Beautiful. Got it.
Our next graduate, Mr. Buddy Martin, who is joining us virtually. Buddy Martin has returned to work as a civilian for the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center at Joint Base San Antonio, Alaska.
Yeah, buddy.
Our next in-person graduate, Second Lieutenant Tyler MacArthur. Presenting his wings will be his wife, Brooke MacArthur. Lieutenant MacArthur has been assigned to the 607 Air and Space Communications Squadron at Osan Air Force Base, South Korea.
Ooh.
Get a little trip.
Just a little plane ride.
You need to do it in a wicker basket.
I've been playing for it actually.
Yeah. As long as
That's
I'm
why-
not filling out that safety form.
Yeah. That's why we focus so much on planning. At least you can pull that off.
I'll be back debriefing it later.
Yeah.
Oh, picture.
Was I smiling in the camera? Yes.
We'll find out later.
Our next graduate today is Second Lieutenant Lyndon Kiros. Presenting his wings is his wife, Sarah Arvizu. Lieutenant Kiros has been assigned to the 55th Strategic Communications Squadron at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska.
Yeah. We've seen what she can do with aggression.
Got it.
You want a picture with your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. You come
Sure.
yes, come on.
Yeah, family.
That's okay. Storm the mound. It's okay. You don't
Share
care.
the photos.
Yeah, that's right. COVID lived it just in time. So when we Photoshop this later, I want his hair on my head. And his body.
Thank you.
Got it.
Next up is Second Lieutenant Kyle Gritz. Presenting his wings will be his mentor, me. Lieutenant Gritz has been assigned to the 90th Cyberspace Operations Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base.
Ooh, Lackland. Yeah.
Sir, check the floorboard.
I'm here. I'm here.
fine.
I don't believe it. Not another for the Los Angeles.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna very risky.
Thank you, Hunter.
So technical.
Was that the area you
Yeah, it's
said? Holy mackerel, Russell. Like as many wings as you can on be like a NASCAR kid. I want to get a photo.
Oh, perfect.
one's smiling and one's just.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Something.
Next graduate today is Second Lieutenant Christopher Scholes. Presenting his wings to his mentor. Lieutenant Brandon Russell. Lieutenant Scholes has been assigned to the 690th Network Support Squadron. San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base.
Everything's bigger in Texas, even mustache.
I'm gonna shave this right after. So. I'm gonna hold it on just for today.
Oh my goodness. I heard that his secret, he's got a little teeny tiny comb. It's 1,000 strokes a night.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Next graduate is Second Lieutenant Michaela Strickland. Presenting her wings is her friend, Second Lieutenant Andrew Barola. Lieutenant Strickland has been assigned to the 531st Intelligence Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland. Which is home. You got this thing.
I had to measure it beforehand with my finger. I was like, okay, that's too much. That's good enough.
Should I pick someone else?
Do it.
You know my knowledge of the regs. Okay, to yourself. There you go. Yeah, just good. Of course.
Got it.
And finally, last, but certainly not least, is Second Lieutenant Kevin Varga. Presenting his wings is his mentor. Lieutenant Varga has been assigned to the 42nd Comm Squadron just down the road at Maxwell Air Force Base.
Yeah, Maxwell.
Not too far.
That's kind of good.
Don't mark that up.
Nope.
Yeah.
Congratulations, class 21009. You are officially graduated. And now, presentation of the awards. The first award is an award that recognizes the outstanding contributor, decided by an anonymous vote from all of the class members. This award is sponsored by the Armed Forces Communications and Electronics Association, otherwise known as AFCEA. The outstanding contributor for CWT class 21009 is Second Lieutenant Lyndon.
Speech.
This surprises
Next, we have the Distinguished Graduate Award. This is based on multiple criteria. The award recognizes only the top 10% of students in a graduating class. Requirements for distinguished graduate include having a minimum academic grade point average of 95% and demonstrating attributes of the full airman concept, including high standards of attitude, bearing, behavior, conduct, failures, as well as no written or performance measurement failures. The distinguished graduate for UCWT Class 21009 is Second Lieutenant Kyle Gritz.
He didn't catch me. So.
Kyle, this surprises
Next, we have the Major General Robert E. Sadler. This award is presented on behalf of the Air Force Command Control Communications and Computers Association and recognizes the UCWT graduate with the highest cumulative grade point average. A tradition began with the UCWT's first graduating class on December 7th in 2010. In addition to the Sadler Award, Brigadier General Ian Dickinson, the former 81st Training Wing Commander, presented his wings to the honoree. In turn, the student receiving the general's wings offered his first badge back to the schoolhouse to pass down to the next Sadler Award winner. Today, the graduate receiving the Sadler Award will relinquish his or her newly pinned wings to the schoolhouse to continue this tradition. The Sadler Award recipient will receive a congratulatory certificate signed by the President of the Air Force Command, Control, Communications, and Computer Association, Lieutenant General Retired Charlie Crow. The Sadler Award recipient for UCWT class graduating 21009 is
was for something very satisfying.
Right in these.
I was told somebody might today, so.
Lastly, we have the coveted Top Instructor Award. Better known as the Furious Foul Award, this award recognizes the instructor who, more than any other instructor, transformed and inspired the student flight the most during training. The award is decided by anonymous vote of all flight members and cannot be awarded to the class mentor. Requirements for the Furious Foul Award include, first and foremost, superior instructorship. The recipient must also demonstrate the Mad Duck standards of boldness, discipline, and focus on quality over quantity. When the name of the award recipient is called out, the class will recognize the instructor with a standing ovation. The Furious Foul Award recipient for UCWT Class 21009, Ryan Big Red Owl.
Well done, Captain. Now. You're not allowed to hang out.
Speech.
Yeah, story time. So I didn't really forecast it. Y'all were my last class before PCS.
Oh.
And
You're the best.
And I will say you were the funnest class I ever had.
Oh,
Yeah. Joe and all the old jokes. Gritz crawling under the skiff floor. Scared the crap out of me. Goodness, everybody's so bright, and I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to do in the Air Force. After my college gig, hopefully I'll run back into you. But thank you for the honor. I really appreciate it.
Next, we have some remarks from our class lead and presentation of class gifts. Sir.
intermission. We will be back momentarily.
It's the same remote for both, so you might have to block off the IR.
Of course.
Hey! How many Delta Alphas does it take?
So, I think first up, one off for anybody who has instructed us before in the past, Captain Hal, any type of roast, any type of storytelling that you'd like to share with the class or any of the guests, as well as anybody else while we're on this.
Did I already give away the floor story? Kind of? Or...
A little bit. You want to share that for us? Let everybody know what all the floorboarding is about?
Sure, yeah. So there I was.
Where are you?
I was in front of my class about to teach after like a 10-minute break. They had to use the restroom. The classroom is kind of like this, where all the chairs are around the edge. I'm in the front. And our very own Lieutenant Gritz, very accomplished, clearly. He usually sat back here, and he's a great student. But as I'm about to teach, all of a sudden, he pops up from out under the floorboard, underneath the floorboard. And what he had done was there's these suction cups that lift up the floorboards, and you can crawl underneath. And while I was up in the front, he had crawled all the way to the front of the class to do that. And he was down there for 15 minutes. He did that to me. He did that to this gentleman right here. He did that to our commander.
No one is safe.
It's something I'll never forget. So, and then a week later, I walk into class and everybody has pulled the tile off of their own where their chairs were. They put the chairs in the hole, and so they're all
Arcade style chair.
Yeah.
It's cooler that way.
Nothing works around. Anyway, yeah, that was good time.
And I think that was round 2, and then we had Captain Wood on the first round. Almost got a black eye. Got into a fighting stance after that.
Say everything I learned from my childhood watching movies like Karate Kid and Ninja Turtles. All came
All right, well, so before I kick that off, I do want to say thank you for, we did a vote at the beginning to have the class lead, and we did our speeches. So I came in, gave my speech saying how, this is kind of a new opportunity for me. I hadn't really had a formal position of where I've had people reporting to me or any type of responsibility, informal, sure, but nothing like this. And then I just inherited a flight command position, my reserve unit before. So it's all new. I was just used to flying on the AWACS, taking care of myself, or go home, go turn off the lights. So I want to thank you very much for the opportunity. It is kind of like leaving a family. It's very interesting. So I will very much miss you guys. Specifically, I'm sure I'm going to be forgetting things, but specifically the academic officers. Thank you so much, Marissa and Kyle, for all the time that you've spent, and Michael as well. You donated hours of your time helping the class. Buddy, Major Breslin, our SMEs in the class that really helped to help us get through a lot of the technical aspects. Michaela for the PT officer. Woo. So you got the Zoom meeting for the early rise PT, and then the ultimate frisbee was awesome. Just helping to build on our camaraderie. Chris, you've done an amazing job with the social level. I mean, seeing this camaraderie between the class. We got Mercury Waters, we had the fire pit nights, assignment nights, awesome. Joe, thank you for
helping to add to that is amazing. And then other events that I'm sure I'm forgetting. Then unofficially, some of the positions, our project, Lennon. So anytime I kind of offered something for like hey, do you think we could do this as a class? Lennon was pretty much the first one to raise his hand and take it and owned it. Those included things like the Thirsty Duck logo that we'll be sharing and talking about. I think you had a sidekick that might have been helping you out a little bit, or maybe a lot of it. But done awesome with that. The cut sheets, just offering your time, making sure that you can help everybody pass. And then the next one, our unsung, I'll give that to Michael Barboza. The unsung hero. I know, at least for me, he's willing, he's so patient, he's a great teacher, he's given me his own time to, I wasn't getting something late hours in the night. He was there to help me, and I did that for several other people. Our Energio, nobody can guess this one, but Mr. Andrew.
Yeah.
When you joined our class, you really helped bring up the energy, especially. Thank you, sir. Sorry, he wasn't in our class beforehand, so the instructor did that favor, but it was definitely helped to build honor in the energy of the class. And then our senior O's. Don't know who that could be, but Joe and then Major Bresson, if you're still watching, just receiving the badgering. I passed off the assignments to you, so you got to receive the badgerings. I had the shred badgering, so you got to deal with that.
That was fun.
You also took time out of your day to read my text or the calls if I had anything. I was like, hey, should I do this? Should I do that? What's your thought? Just trying to get some leadership perspective as far as things that's going on in the class, with projects, whatever it was. Same thing with Major Bresson, just giving that counseling, that bounce back. So thank you very much for your time and your leadership. So, and I would be in bad position if I did not thank the most important person. My wife, Rebecca. She's done so much. I get very little thanks from the spotlight perspective. She's gone through ABM, she's done the deployments, and then hopefully this is the last long ride. We can get you back home to Texas family. But I can't do any of this without you. When you leave and go out of town, I just fast food and frozen food. Stack of laundry waiting for you.
We know we really appreciate it.
So many nights got to deal with the class, and then just having to study in the evening, just taking care of the kids on your own is almost like single mother to some nights, I'm sure. But I thank you. I love you. Michael, Ellie, and Rosie. Thank you for supporting me. Can't do it without you. All right, moving on.
Should I be nervous?
First, I'd like to present him to the class mentor to close off the mix, and I'll pass it over to Lieutenant Margo.
Yay.
All right. So me and Gritz over here, we were one of the first people to actually get to talk to Lieutenant Russell, working in the skip over McClellan Hall. We had the great honor of working with him. Over the time, became our class mentor. We had a lot of great opportunities to work with him. He always was doing something, whether he was teaching or cleaning up McClellan, or our mentor, which is a lot of work. So we wouldn't expect him with this gift, just in case whoever had to do another mess.
Open it. Open it.
Only you guys. Here, you, come here. Can I get a picture with these two clowns, please?
Now, it's not really a gift if you stole it from our school.
No, we went to Lowe's and it was just there.
Come on, guys. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We have one more gift to give, technically two, and this goes to our class lead, Captain Doty, if you want to step on out here. So Captain Doty had to deal with a lot of us. Yeah. From showing up, 15 minutes late to not responding to bag drags. Took 2 minutes beforehand.
Hey, it's very bad time, man. It's very bad time.
Yeah, but plenty of heart attacks we gave him.
You know, we had a love, you know, hate relationship. We always, you know, hate each other during class, but loved each other at the end. So the first year, we feel like it's kind of fitting. You guys
World's okayest boss.
Man, if you want to give you this gift, it's something a little more serious to remember us by.
It's nerdy, you're gonna love. Oh.
Wow.
Picture.
Childhood dream come
No matter what, Dodie was always there to battle for us. Behind the scenes, front of the scenes, he was always there for us. So really appreciate it.
Aw.
You're gonna need it while you're here.
I might be walking into class. All right, so moving on. My turn. Oh, that was it. There I was.
Where were you?
At the class leadership lunch, Colonel Sparks, after talking with the class, okay, there's, you know, normally some stuff that you give as a class at the graduation, some official things. It could be something you buy, whatever it is. So it's a little ambiguous. So I asked Colonel Sparks, like, so what's the standard? Like, we just want to make sure we're delivering. It's like, all I care about is just delivering back to the experience of the students. That's all I really care about. Doesn't have to cost money, have to do this, that, or the other. So what happened is I found a place at Dermo. So I went to Old Man Joe. I said, hey, Old Man Joe, there's some gaps in the squadron. The Heritage Room and the Quack Shack, they kind of need some things. There's this room called the Robo Crib Room. There's nothing in there. Everybody's got a stand. You know, what do you think you have that, you know, we might be able to take, because everything here is free. Nothing charged. Just that Arlo Grid. It's like, hey, I've got some stuff for you. It's like, I've got some chairs for you. I've got some couches to use. I got some tables all over. I've got a high table for your bar. I've even got a ping pong table. It's like, shoot, I've even got a chess table if you want it. He said, shoot, we'll take it. So we got on the move. We went and delivered them to the squadron. So first, the Robo Crib Room is where you store your phones in a skiff. Empty. Everybody's just got to stand. It's awful. Before, after, boom, 2 couches, 3 chairs. The Heritage Room. We took those tables, we took those chairs. It was empty. Boom. We got more seating. Lacking seating. So now we got a lot more people, a lot more camaraderie that can happen within there. Quack Shack. Looking a little empty. Thanks to the SNPs helping to clear it out for sure. We found some things that could go inside of there, including that coffee table and the end table. Boom, even a place for the chess table. Very important people in these parking spots. So took on the project itself and painted those parking spots. Went out during, what was it, a weekend, a Sunday, I think it was. Spent several hours signing these up. We got, what, 4 parking spots in there? And then if anybody's dental staff is considering having a kid, you've got a benefit if you want to get that best spot on the staff. Stored parking. Stored parking. Can't read that. It says expected mothers only. Right to the left.
I've noticed a huge difference in the chief when he pulls into his big chief spot. He turns in like a ball.
But wait, there's more. So there's this thing called the fountain pen room. So one day, one of our classmates walking by there, does a double take. Empty, looks kind of dead. Like, this used to be at a range. People used to go in here, try to hack, do some defensive stuff, and they used to just kind of do it informally, work on some of their skills. Like, wait a second, maybe I could go in there and start looking at some things, dig around. Ah, got it. I'm gonna get this range back to life. Michael spent so much energy, so many hours between classes, after classes. I was spent on this. I went to Colonel Sparks and said, hey, this room needs to be renamed. And in the interim, it was renamed the Barboza range, and some other ones.
It's a nice
But
book.
it got renamed the Loveless Lab. Do you like to explain the name of the Loveless Lab?
It's named after Ada Lovelace, who was a 1850s mathematician who wrote the first essentially computer algorithm programming language.
And it complements the room in the skip, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it's kind of a compliment to the touring room. Yeah, it's a compliment to the skip. I love it.
So we got in there and he's doing all the technical stuff, and then we're kind of looking around like, well, how can we clean this up? It's looking a little bit cluttered. This kind of random cubicle that's in the center. So we got one of the tables that we got from Old Man Joe, and boom, we got a collaboration table inside that for conference tables, for type of communicating, for once they do some of those self-hacking labs. Then the heritage room. So wanted to add a little spice. You know, there's some talk about trying to make it a little bit more operational style. It's definitely come a long way in the SNITs, and all the students come together to build off a lot of it. So we were thinking, what if we just branded this? So anybody who's deployed, and you've deployed a place that has alcohol, you know that you're going to go to Thirsty Camel. So we played off of that. You know, we got the Mad Duck logos. So we decided, well, what if we rebranded, called the Thirsty Duck? Heritage Room has normally got the umbrella name for where the alcohol's at, but Thirsty Duck kind of play off with the deployment areas and give it a little bit of fun. Create some souvenirs, some logos. So started with an idea like, what can we do with this? So using our agile methodology that we learned in iteration number 1. We went to sprint 2, got a nice little draft. I think you've got a sidekick that was drawing this up for us. And then iteration 3, finally, the Thirsty Duck logo. So we're working on getting the funds together to get this a legit sign, you know, pretty close to this quality up in the Heritage Room.
Did you hear the news from yesterday?
I did not, sir.
There was an influx of an additional $200 into to make this, to pull this off. So
yes,
we're closer. We're
yes.
much closer.
So once we get that trigger pulled, we'll have it within a month, and it's going to look front and center over the bar. And that's going to be there to display for all to see and to build out that luxury Thirsty Duck Heritage Room. So, wait, oh yeah, there's more. This one took some steady hands, right? From a local medic.
Yeah.
So in case you guys haven't guessed this, we're pretty close class. Pretty difficult to deal with. So this kind of goes to all the instructors. We got a custom Maker's Mark bottle from class 21009 to contribute to your Heritage Room. So if you want to come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So sorry for giving you all headaches. Thank you for putting up with us. Hopefully this helps.
Thanks. Thank you. This is awesome. That's badass. And it's appropriate. Rich drove me to drink. That's awesome.
So that's all that I had for this, what we delivered as a graduating class to get back to the squadron, to get back to the staff. So thank you for everything that y'all done to train us, and we look forward to getting out there.
Thank you. 2 quick comments. I love the Lovelace, the idea of making that the Lovelace lab. So I have a daughter who I'm trying to introduce her to more STEM related concepts, and so it's important for her to see folks that represent what's possible. And so thank you for thinking of that. That's awesome. And 2, every organization takes on the attitude, the spirit, the personality of their leader, and you get to see that. Can't doubt it. And so thank you for your leadership with this team. And I know that you didn't do it alone. And I appreciate what you've done to make this place better than you found it. Thanks.
Congratulations to all of our graduates, the award winners. One more round of applause for our class 21009. This concludes today's graduation ceremony. The class of 21009 would like to extend their thanks to those in virtual attendance today. The graduates will conclude today's ceremony by leading us in the singing of the Air Force song. Afterwards, they will form a receiving line at the front, and attendees are encouraged to come forward and congratulate our newest cyber operators.
It doesn't work in this one.
Please stand for the singing of the Air Force song.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high in the sun. Here he comes to be our thunder, and boys, give it a gun, give it a gun, hey! Down we dive, starting our flames from under, off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, we're down in flames, hey, nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. Woo! Woo!
Too overeager for that.
Yeah, I-
Speaking.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't belong.
Enjoy.
Special red skirts don't look weird anywhere else. Chris, look at me.
Sorry. What?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Nice.
Still there. And now we're done.
Can I get a picture? Hang on your head.
We really appreciate having you.
They know how much.
What's up?
What happened? Oh, you could, yeah, San Antonio.
Yeah, we're gonna.